Yo, what is good, YouTube? In today's video, I'm gonna give you guys the new top 5 meta assault rifle loadouts here to use in Warzone. If you enjoyed the video, let's break 200 likes, subscribe, notifications turned on, and let's get into it. All right, so for our first loadout here today, we're gonna be getting into the Cypher 91. This is basically your #1 best AR you guys can possibly use. Highly recommend you use this exact setup. It's incredible, and it's my go-to right now in Warzone. First thing in the optics section, there is a few options in here which you guys can technically use, but I'll give you guys the rundown on which ones you should be using. Essentially, you can use the Kepler micro reflex if you want to go for a red dot. This Volzinski reflex is actually pretty good, as well as the acute spot reflex. A couple options in here, and you can go all the way down and use something like the Kepler red dot or the Otero if you want to go for a bit more of a precision sight. It's a 1.25x magnification, pretty nice. You can change the reticle on that, and then you can go on down here and use the Jason Armory 2 times or the Willis 3 times. However, my suggestion is going to be to use the Willis 3 times. I feel like after using all the different sights, the Willis 3 times lessens the amount of course, visual recoil, like the gun recoil kick the absolute most, and I think it makes this gun truly the most effective it can be. So I'd suggest for you guys to stick with the Willis 3 times, as the other ones feel like the gun is not as accurate as it could be, so I like this quite a bit. Muzzle section, we're going to go here throw on the compensator. This is just going to help us out their overall vertical recoil control the absolute most, so I want you guys to go ahead and run this. There's no reason to run the muzzle brake or the ported compensator. These would be for more specific instances like using the Goblin or something like that, where you have that kick reset that you need in order to make the gun better. But this is just for fully automatic fire, and this is going to do the absolute most for us. Barrel section, we're going to go in here, and we're just going to throw on the very first barrel, which is the gain twist barrel, because our damage at effective range of 45 meters is actually pretty solid, and our bullet velocity at 1134 meters per second is fantastic. So you're really just going to be able to absolutely dominate the game when actually using this. You can probably try out the reinforced barrel if you want to, just because you can take a look at 54.9 meters or aka 55 meters and 972 meters per second is awesome. But overall, I don't think it's going to really hit that much harder. I'd say the gain twist is most likely going to be the thing that's going to make this gun hit the absolute hardest, and it's what I personally have the most success with, so I'd recommend for you guys to go for this. Now, under barrel section, we're going to go through on that vertical foregrip. There's nothing else in here that is going to be better. You guys should just be running the vertical foregrip here whenever you are using this thing. It's not like there's a stock or something else like that, like we've had with the XM4, that's going to make this thing so much better. There just really isn't. So go for the vertical foregrip. And last but not least, the magazine section, we're going to go throw on extended mag 2, which gets us a beautiful 60 rounds in the mag. So we absolutely love that. Go ahead and throw this on there. I'm a 60 round mag kind of guy, and I like running that 60. So this right here is my full Cypher 91 build. Thanks to U4GM for sponsoring this video. They're a professional Black Ops 6 service provider that specializes in cheap gift packs up to 50% off. They also specialize in easy camo unlocks and max level, along with bot lobbies, and you can even use code Chuck at checkout for 5% off. All right, so our second AR here today is going to be the Ames 85. This thing is fantastic. Very low recoil, great damage profile. Overall, it's one of my other favorites to use besides the Cypher, so you guys will have a great time using it. Overall, optics section, I'm not going to explain this every single time I go ahead and give you guys a build, just because it's the same thing applies to essentially every AR, since they all have the same selection of optics, is that you can use basically whatever you want on them, but there are certain ones that might be a little bit more effective overall. So for this right here, I'd kind of say something like the Jason Armory 2X will be a little bit better, or the 3 times, just due to the fact that the Ames does have a little bit of kick to it. So when you can really balance that out, this gun will be a lot more effective, especially at range. So I'd probably suggest to go for the 2X or the 3X, depending on what you really want. Both are very clear optics and will make it easier to hit some longer range shots. Muzzle section, as per usual, we're going to use the compensator to help us with that vertical recoil control. Don't need to go switch this up. It's not one of those guns you can run a suppressor on. Mostly SMGs are the only ones you can get away with that, or unless you're making an 8 attachment build somehow. Some of the guns might be a little bit more doable that way, but I don't ever make 8 attachment builds, as it's not very necessary. It's also kind of a pain in the butt to go ahead and have to get, your second gun off a different loadout or from the buy station. I don't like doing that. So next up, barrel section though, we're gonna go and run the gain twist barrel on this thing, just because your damage at effective range is already 50.8 meters. We don't need to extend it out more. Just go throw on the gain twist barrel and kind of call it a day, because you're going to get to almost 1100 meters in bullet velocity, which is going to make your gun feel a lot more hit scan, so you definitely want that. So I'd suggest for you guys to go ahead and throw on the gain twist barrel, and you don't need to even mess with the reinforce. Reinforce is cool and all, but I mean, you don't really gain a whole lot in your damage at effective range from like 50 to like 55, 55.9. So it's not that much. I'd say you're going to be way better off with this. Underbarrel section, vertical foregrip here, as always. It gives you the nice little 3 green, arrows for horizontal recoil control, which is definitely needed. Otherwise, you're going to be an absolute mess. Not going to have fun using this, regardless of how strong aim assist is in the game. Not going to have fun. So lastly, magazine extended mag 2, which is going to give us 60 rounds of the mag here, as it normally does. So go ahead and run that on there. And this right here will be my full AMES 85 build. Hopping into our number 3 slot here is going to be the Model L. This is going to be probably around your number 2 to number 3 AR overall. You're not going to really be at a disadvantage against the Cypher using this or the AMES. It just kind of comes down to a little bit more preference. They're all pretty close, which is nice. It's not like there's a clear front runner like when we had, for instance, the D tier, which was taking over Warzone. It was basically D tier zone and static zone for a while. So, I mean, it's not like it's that. It's very open in terms of the meta. There are just a few minor variances. So for this gun in particular, though, we're going to go down in here, run the 3x scope on it just to get us the absolute most, to help, to be able to see what's going on. This is one of those guns that can really be effective at range as long as you can control the recoil. It's got a great profile, so we want to take advantage of that, and this right here will help you do that. Muzzle, definitely want to go for the compensator here. I mean, it's going to be needed. You definitely want to go for that on an assault rifle. Now hopping into the barrel section, normally probably, at least on assault rifles, it's where you get the most variance on what you can use. But you can take a look here. We're just hitting the right trigger to be able to pull all this up. But your damage at effective range, you can see it's a 47. I think it was like a 55 beforehand, but they just kind of bumped it down a little bit. Actually, we're going to go ahead and select this just so we can go back here and check it. But it's at 47 meters, and we can see our bullet velocity is 1160, which puts you right in line with essentially everything else right now. So you're not going to be, like I said, at really a disadvantage. There's no reason to run like a reinforced barrel or even a long barrel for that matter. I have some people asking like, oh, why would you not run the long barrel? Well, your bullet velocity is trash, and you will feel that. Like, it doesn't matter how good your damage range is, if the shots don't register at those ranges because the bullet velocity is too slow, then it doesn't do you any good at all. So we're gonna go ahead and use just the gain twist barrel, and at maximum you can switch over the reinforce, maybe just because it looks cool, and maybe because you're playing Rebirth and you feel like you're okay with it. But overall, gain twist barrel. Underbarrel section, vertical foregrip here, don't gotta explain this one. And then lastly, in the magazine, we use extended mag 2, which gets us 50 rounds instead of 60 like we've had for the past 2. So that is perfectly fine. It's not a super fast fire rate AR, so we don't go through those rounds as often, but this is actually pretty okay right here, and this will be your full Model L build. At our number 4 slot, we're going to be taking a look at the GPR 91. This is a really solid gun. I don't think a lot of people are using. Definitely not the hardest hitting in comparison to the Cypher or the Model L or anything else like that. I would say that this is going to be kind of roughly around a little bit like the AMES, where faster fire rate doesn't hit as hard, but still very easy to use. So optic section, we're gonna give you guys the ultimate build here, of course, and that's gonna be using that Jason Armory 2X or the Willis 3x. They both do the same here in terms of your recoil gun kick, so it's not like you gain more versus using the 3x versus the 2x. It is the exact same. It's just the optic zoom and what you really care about. So between these, pick whatever feels best for you. It really doesn't matter a whole lot between these two. So for this one, just for the sake of variety, since we use the Willis, we're gonna go for the 2x. Muzzle section, compensator here. This is the same thing on all these assault rifles prior. It just does the absolute most. So you guys want to run the compensator. Barrel section, this one we can take a look at here. This one actually does want to work with us. This right here, you should be running the reinforced barrel on, just because, I mean, you can take a look at the gain twist. I mean, 36 meters. Okay, that's the point where we're like, that's not nearly that effective. So you want to go for something that's going to get you more of that range, that it's going to be better at effective damage range. So we're gonna have to use the reinforced barrel to get us to 44.2, which is slightly under where we've been at, but it's still okay. And the bullet velocity is 936. So that's why I say this is not like top tier meta, but it's still definitely viable. And if you like the GPR, you can definitely still fry with the GPR. Underbarrel section, we're gonna use the vertical foregrip here as per usual. No stock. It's not like it's the XM4. I think the XM4 is the only AR or only gun in general that has an extra attachment that helps with the recoil, and that's the only thing that's ever been like that in as far as BO6 Warzone goes. Don't know why they haven't added more attachments. Like we had all the jack attachments in MW3 Warzone. I like that a lot. They kind of slack on doing those things this year. But anyways, last attachment, extended mag 2, gets you 60 rounds. Wonderful. It is the standard 60 round mag kind of guy, so it makes me happy. Does the job. We don't ever want to go for extended mag 1 or something like that. I don't even care if you're playing solos. Extended mag 2 is still the move. You want to go for that. So this right here is the full GPR build. And last but not least, one of my other favorites to use, something that I enjoy just because it's not used as much. You don't see it hardly ever, minus you see it on ground loot occasionally when you pick it up, is the AK-74. This is a very hard-hitting AR, but I call it more of a skill cannon because you need to be able to control the recoil. Like I got accused of like a Cronus and other types of cheats. I mean, as I do per usual in some of my comments, but definitely more so is using this thing because like, how do you control the recoil? It's very simple. Aim assist is really strong and I'm actually good, but overall, this is not that difficult of a gun to use. You just have to be able to pull down on the stick, and to be able to control it is not that hard. And so I'll give you guys the most controllable build for this gun, which generally speaking involves a 2 or 3 times scope just because of the overall bounce this gun has. It has a bit of that balance and we don't need that. So you guys want to go for the Jason Armory or the Willis 3 times, probably the 2 times, because this is not like a super long range AR. It's not like it's the Cypher or the Model L or the Amy's where it's gonna be really, really good at range. This is probably more of a dedicated resurgence AR just due to the recoil patterns. Muzzle section, we're gonna go through on the compensator here. Definitely need this. I wish it did more for vertical recoil control. I assume they'll probably update that in a patch or something to make it a little bit better overall, but it does exactly what it should, and none of these other ones are gonna be better. I know you can see this, like first shot recoil control, obviously that's great, but the kick reset speed, I mean, these are things that we don't really need. We just need help over extended duration of fire. And the compensator is going to do that for us the most. Over the ported, over the muzzle, it's just going to be the best overall. Barrel section, we're going to go for the gain twist here. This right here is fantastic. As you can see, the reason I say it's a skill cannon and you can use it, it's really effective, is because look at that, 58 meters of effective damage range, and you get out to 1162 in bullet velocity. It's wonderful. Like that does exactly what you need it to. It's got probably even better range than the best AR that I've showed you guys here today, which is the Cypher. But it is going to have more recoil, or like considerably more than the Cypher, which when you use the sight that I have for you guys, it's going to basically not have any at all, or hardly any at all. It's going to be super manageable. This will still kick a little bit, so when you can control it, you really will be super effective. So go ahead and use this. After that underbarrel, we're going to go throw on that vertical foregrip here. Nothing else better. And then for the magazine, I actually use extended mag 2, not extended mag 3, and the only reason being is because I feel like the reload on this is quite fast. 50 rounds still feels like enough to me with the AK, but overall, if you want the drum look on it, go for the extended mag 3 and you'll be good to go. But extended mag 2 is what I normally run, and it's still perfectly fine. So this is kind of like the nice little variant you have with this gun. You can choose what you want. On the magazine section, I just stay away from, of course, the fast mag, flip mag, and other fast mag. Just extended mag 2 and 3 is going to be your option. So this right here is my final build for this top 5. If you guys enjoyed it, give it a like, subscribe, check out this other video on screen, and I'll see you all next time.